Like you've got 10 of these little things. They look like they're plastic. They kind of look like, I don't know, like a drill sharpener.
Okay.
Kind of looking machine.
Yeah.
And then the captain has 4 battery pack, like for 4 C-cell batteries. And I mean, it detected Hebrew, but all it came back was made by Shalom Limited Incorporated. Like part number 86 something from 2002. And it's got 10 of them. We're like, still don't know what the hell they are.
Oh, there's Art. Can we hear Art? Art?
Should have brought one.
No,
You
no,
guys
I didn't hear it.
told me what they
I didn't
were.
hear him.
Yeah.
Can't hear me?
Yeah, there we go.
Game show, huh?
Yeah. Guess what this is?
Try again. See,
1, 2, 3, 4.
that's better. Volume on the TV was down a little.
Looks like he went past the left coast and went slap out into space.
Yeah, he's in space,
I don't know if it's like
but he's moving. That's a good sign. We can see him move.
this kind of screen nested outside of the quarter.
See if they can do the curly shut.
Like it looks like a quarter, so this is when it comes out of the side. No idea.
It
Any-
looks,
Anything new, Art?
Not really. It's hot as heck here, but you know, other than that, it's fine. I got reconnected to my Milford servers. Turns out that on the 19th, which was a week ago tomorrow, I guess, we had a major electrical storm, power failure. And when things rebooted, they didn't reboot. So, you know, what are you doing there? Leroy, cleaning out your closet or what?
looks like you got Girl Scout cookies.
That's right.
Dang. I gotta go. Be right back.
It's an IKEA box. It's a box full, it's a IKEA box full of IKEA boxes.
Okay.
They,
Don't ask too many questions, you know, about Leroy just saying.
they fold down into, I just don't have them folded all the way. They fold down into like building blocks for kids. But
Yeah.
these things are great for testing robots. Because I can set them up and let the robots drive around and bounce off of them, and it won't hurt the robot and it won't hurt the box. And it was like $20 for, I think, 12 of these things. 24. It's $20 for like 24 of these things. So it was cheap. But anymore, I don't really fold them all the way up because there's no real need to fold them all the way up. I just fold them enough so they stay on the desk
And stay square.
and stay square.
So are we doing a robot demonstration today?
We are going to attempt a robot thing.
I like the positivity there.
So this is the AI type or this the AI project or what?
This is the AI project. I got it done this afternoon and I tested it a little and I'm not sure that it's working 100%. I've made a few changes that I ran out of time. I didn't get a chance to test the changes, so we'll see what happens. This should be enough boxes. I think. If I need more boxes, I'll pull more boxes. It's probably too many boxes. There's probably too many boxes because now there's other stuff on the table.
It's all right, I can move.
No, it's good. It's good to have extra stuff
I
because,
don't want to get ran over.
well, you know,
What
just
about
don't
my
want-
safety?
I just don't want it to run off the table. Running you over is not a problem.
Yeah.
So what you need now is a camera that's on the ceiling.
Exactly. We might be able to highlight Jim, or maybe we can move this camera around.
Yeah, my fingers get ran over already. Speed bump.
Pop a wheelie on your
Have
fingers.
you been to Micro Center since they put in those speed bumps?
No,
Oh my God.
I haven't been to
My car
Marcus Center.
can
Center in a
barely
while.
clear it. I looked in there and I hit that first one. I was like, what the hell? Where'd that come from?
Really can't see it, but on the camera, you can kind of see it. It's kind of there. There's little LEDs on here moving. That it's in training mode right now, so it's trying to get its training data done.
I'm gonna turn around.
So why do you have two sets of ultrasonic distance measures?
Because that is what it's going to use for sensing the distance. There's a left one and a right one.
Should be able to get some semblance of height out of that, maybe. Using two
But I
things.
see four. I see two on the left and two on the right.
No, it's just one set. They're just configured instead of being horizontal, they're vertical.
Oh, so the lefts are one set and the right are one set. I got it. Okay, gotcha.
So the
That's cool.
LEDs are telling you that it's getting trained. And eventually it'll come out with some data that it likes. And it will start moving. And hopefully it actually moves. Hopefully it actually does what it's supposed to do.
You didn't want to do the coffee cup?
So when I first did this, of course, the project, the original project, it's a tracked robot and it's a bigger platform. So trying to scale it down a little bit, I'm having some problems. And then he was using a different motor driver. This one only uses 4 pins to drive 2 motors instead of 6 pins to drive 2 motors. And I was trying to figure out how he designated which motor did what. And I think I figured it out, but we'll see. Because when I was first doing this, I was on a tiny table. And to me, it looked like it kept wanting to turn into the boxes instead of away from the boxes. So I've made some changes, but I didn't have a chance to test them. And I'm not sure on the tiny little table that I had, if it would have been any good or not. I think it needs a pretty open area.
What is it learning? Oh, we're looking in one direction.
So it's learning distances, left and right distances, and it's mapping those distances to either forward, left, a hard left turn, or a soft left turn, and a hard right turn or a soft right turn. Or going forward. And I did use the distances that the original guy was using, because I figured they've got to be pretty close, but they may be part of the problem too. So it takes a couple of minutes for it to actually learn, and it should be getting close to time.
Then what does it do? Just race around the table?
Avoiding hitting something, yes, that's its goal.
Is its role also to keep in motion or,
Yes, it doesn't really stop.
okay,
So when it actually gets the model trained, it will start reading the sensors and it'll use the sensor data. It'll put the sensor data into the model to see what the closest outcome is. And it will decide that it needs to either turn left, right, or go forward. At
okay,
least that's the theory.
okay.
I would love it to actually work, because that would be,
Okay,
I'm not holding out hope. I'd love it to actually work. But I'm not sure that it's going to.
we've been going at this for what, a month at this point?
It's been 2 or 3 weeks, yeah. I first saw this project probably a month ago and said, I want to do it. And then I kept changing my mind about what it was I wanted to use to make it actually work. And then last week, of course, I had to order the ultrasonics because the ultrasonics I had didn't work with 3 volts. So why would they?
So these are 3-volt ultrasonics?
These are 3-volt ultrasonics.
Yeah, hey. Not bad so far.
Not great. You can't decide. Move one of those boxes.
They would call it success. They moved it all.
This is kind of what it was doing at the house. I was hoping. There's some delays and some timings and some other stuff that. Looks to me like, oh, no, it hit it. It's not supposed to hit it.
It's knocking off the corner.
Looks to me like it still wants to get.
Oh, it's got a balloon.
Yeah.
Looks to me like it still wants to go towards the boxes instead of away from the boxes.
Which depends on the motor.
I tried that actually.
So it just sits there and twitches.
Yeah, well.
He wants to run berry.
It seems to like berry.
He wants to be ready.
Hey, you're not supposed to hit things. You're supposed to go. I think I'm gonna have to put different sensor data in for it to train on, because I was getting some kind of weird readings off of it, these sensors that they just sit and go over and over and over again. It should be fairly consistent, but
We don't want to turn left.
yeah,
And
it's trained to go to the left.
Need a left and right light. Where it thinks it wants to go.
Actually, those lights are supposed to light up and they're not doing it.
Oh.
I don't know what it thinks it sees.
So does it actually memorize the geography or not?
No. So it's actually just supposed to avoid anything that sits in front of it. It's supposed to avoid. See, it just saw. I know that's what happened. It just saw a weird. I know that's what happened. It just saw a weird thing and it went. "Hey." I don't think these sensors are just stable. It's the,
So where is it? It's behind something?
can you see it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He's twitchy. We'll call him Twitch.
Then he's gonna ring the box and rock the table.
Well, that was fun. Don't. You're not supposed to hit the box. See, does it not seem like it wants to go towards the object that it's supposed to be inflated? Or is that just me?
Well, it's like it doesn't like the left one, but then the right one's like, let's go that way.
You're not working. You're not doing what I do.
So your AI is always kind of throwing us off.
My AI will come along if it had sharp, pointy objects on the end and stab you to death.
That's true.
It's true. Let's see something.
What's the power source, Leroy?
It is a 3.7 volt LiPo.
Do those ultrasonic sensors suck a lot of current?
That is, I'm not sure, honestly. I'm kind of leaning towards there not being quite as stable as the 5-volt ones, though.
Okay.
Um,
So only 2 of the 3 wheels are actually driven, right?
Yes. Yes, it's a normal.
So it's a tricycle where you drive the 2 back wheels.
Yeah. What do they call that?
Tail dragger. Yeah, tail dragger. That's what Ray called them. You have a third. the
Well,
tail
it's a tail dragger, except that it's in the front.
That's a perception. What's the front, what's the back? Yeah.
It's just driving backwards, right?
A tail pusher.
Can you see that, Art?
Oh, yeah.
He's in a much bigger, wider area. But the platform is also bigger, so. No! We blew up the internet.
Rear weather. Mondo.
What do the cats think of that? Or you don't have cats, right, Leroy?
I do not have cats.
You want cats?
I have carpet too, so I can't really put this one on the floor. If I had a track robot, I might be able to stick it on the floor. But this is the project I'm trying to duplicate or approximate. Or
So those,
he's using an ESP32. I mean, it's basically the same thing. He's got different motor drivers, obviously. You know, and a track robot, but it's the same idea. That's my fun project.
so it is strictly ultrasonic distance measurements. There's no radar, LiDAR.
That is correct.
Okay.
That is a true statement.
How long will it run on a single charge of the LiPo battery?
I don't know. That battery hasn't been charged for probably 2 weeks now. And it was just starting to flash. Yeah, it's down to 3 bars.
Mm-hmm.
So my guess is since the ultrasonics got put on it, it's taking a lot more power.
Okay.
That's just yes.
So when Steve brings his in,
Do what?
so we disassemble it and Steve brings his in and be like, need blocks.
You know, I actually used to carry these boxes around in the front of my car for such occasions. But you know, they're IKEA. IKEA's around the corner. We need a box. I'll go to IKEA.
What are you driving now? I didn't recognize any vehicles in the parking lot.
I drove with you.
Oh, okay.
That's why you didn't recognize nothing.
I got the people in my neighborhood straighten their driving skills out. He's parked in my driveway.
So there's a
Oh.
copy.
Yeah. It's better than, I
Sign
tried to get
saying-
some stars to stick on the side of it. Park out by the road, the head going down.
Stuff that would get me in the trouble.
And quite a cop.
Play the cop. Somebody sitting there with what looks like a LiDAR gun sticking out the window.
It'd be fun.
I'll try to get it tweaked up and see if I can get it to work a little better. I'm gonna have to, I actually got a hold of the guy who did the original project. I may have to see how he determined, see if he'll tell me how he determined his initial values to start with.
There's a cop car in the front yard.
Didn't we see that view last week?
Yeah, that's a, yeah,
Something like that. Couple weeks ago.
yeah.
I drove last week.
So what, you guys are carpooling now?
Yeah, it's just a little cheaper for
Well,
me.
What's gas in your neighborhood, Art?
Pardon?
How much is gas in your neighborhood?
Between $6.50 and $7 a gallon.
Yeah, we should still feel kind of lucky.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, our gas tends to always be about, no, 25 to 50% higher.
And you have a lot more tax on yours.
No, it has nothing to do with taxes. Has to do with the
Say so.
particular refineries.
They have boutique gas out there too. Boutique.
Boutique.
Yeah, they do.
Smells good.
Yeah, it's, yeah.
Pretty
That's
gas.
flowers when you get, they give you flowers when you go to the gas station.
It's got
Yeah.
pretty gas. It's pretty gas.
Other gas is customized for their.
We should feel lucky that our gas is what it is, but I don't feel lucky at all.
Well, the numbers in Europe are even higher.
I know, I've seen them. I've seen people that have said, you shouldn't complain about that gas price. Yeah, we should, but that's all right.
I was in the UK once and thought, oh, your gas is cheap over here. And they go, no, that price is per liter.
Per liter.
That's right.
And what, it takes 3 liters to make a gallon or something?
Almost.
Little north of 3 liters to make a gallon.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Well, that fits our needs.
$10 a liter. I would get 20 miles, maybe. Maybe.
And I think it was still 12 cents in Venezuela.
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, boy.
Bicycle torque sensor.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, strain gauge on the, okay, cool.
So somewhere inside there, yeah. I don't know if it's. Oh,
You
or
gotta have a
something.
slip ring for that. Keep that plugged in.
Oh, yeah, it rotates.
This was
So what is that?
It's a torque sensor for a crank on a bicycle.
Yeah.
So it can tell how hard you're pushing on the pedals.
Oh, okay.
this is the stationary part. This is the
That
pedal
plugs
part.
into the battery and the electronics. and
Yeah.
It spins on it. Yeah, okay.
At least that's the theory, right?
Yeah.
If you can
So
figure
I
it out.
think there's a Hall effect in there that senses a little bit of the shift
So you,
between the axle and the.
you've got 3 wire or 4 wires. You got a red, a black, a blue, and an orange. So the red and black are probably power.
Power in and ground, yeah. So I don't know what the signal coming out into play with that. So I don't know, also don't know if there's a cadence sensor in there that can tell it that it's even spinning.
They're probably like this. So they go through and which one goes by first.
Yeah,
How do you get the torque out of that? Oh, maybe that's a. Mhm.
well, some of them that on the, is you have to ring putting up the resistance. It's where the chain is. If you push it on the pedal, you get a little bit of torque, a
Flex.
little bit of flexing in there, and
Strain
it'll put Hall effect sensors in there, and it'll sense that little bit of movement.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the strain gauge ones are usually in the rear,
Mm.
and it checks the flexing of the axle from the backside. But these got this from a charitable organization that was given the bikes to disassemble
Oh,
because the OEM quit distributing them.
oh,
So they take them apart and sell the parts,
cool.
but they're not allowed to sell the whole bike.
Cool.
And the OEM does give any wiring diagrams on their specs, but $25. And they usually go for 100 plus.
So you got these at eBay or what?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of those that are kind with the strain gauge.
Yeah, works for places. They they scrap a whole lot of military parts, servos and robot motors, and not allowed to have any of it. It's all branded in a box. You have to know all of it down.
Oh, wow.
And count every ounce.
Hmm.
So they know something's
Something wasn't
not in the
missing.
batch.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you're killing me. Called Gaylord a brand new, like $300 motors.
Mhm.
You got a what?
So the sensor output is what? 0 to 10 volts or what?
I think from what I've been reading, with no load on it, it puts out like 3.5 volts. And then as you put a load on it, it drops.
Oh, it drops. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So I think it's like 5 volts in, and you get about 3.5 volts out. From what I've been reading on some of the other ones.
I'm not saying that this is the right one, but it looks like 5 volts in and between 1 and 3 volts out.
Yeah.
But I don't see anything that says anything about what the signal is supposed to look like.
It's just a DC level. It doesn't look like there's any pulse or anything else.
So one of the boxes I found yesterday, he had a little square box in it, yay big, and it had toggle switches and has different resistor ohms, and it has like 2 stereo jacks on the bottom of the box.
What was this for?
I don't know if it's some kind of antenna. It said something about being an antenna, so I don't know if it's like so you can change your frequency just by changing what your resistance is for what's coming in on the line for filtering. I'm big with antennas, so I have no idea.
You
I
can
just
have an
really
antenna
strange.
tuner, which would be an inductor or a capacitor combo.
Yeah, this had like from something like 1 ohm to like 1 mega ohm. There were like 50 or 60 switches on it,
Mm.
and it incremented. And, as it got bigger, it's getting more and more numbers. So like it went from like 1 to 25, and then like something like 50 to 1,000.
Could do
and then-
impedance or something, could be an impedance matcher. You got some of them? Yeah.
Well, as I said, I can bring it in. We have no idea. I just
So
saw
bring it
I
in,
was
see
thinking
what
that-
Steve says.
Yeah, be like, Steve, what's this?
Yeah, what's
I'll remember to bring that little orange thing too. It says Shalom Incorporated. I have no idea what that was either, but there's 10 of those in a box.
So where'd you get these, Barry?
So a real good friend down the street passed away, and he was a materials engineer, but he did a lot of tinkering and tuning parts and calibrating tools and stuff for GE. So I mean, we've got all kinds of diagnostic equipment and just weird electronics that we have no idea.
So this is Estate Electronics.
Yeah, I was to say it was. It said something about being an antenna, so I didn't know what that would be. And like I said, unless it like I'm saying an impedance tuner or something, I don't know.
We'll get it figured out.
It's interesting. Probably gonna have to put 5 volts on it, stick it up on a O-scope and see what comes out.
Yeah. Something to play with.
Yeah, we got toys.
So I got a new motor ordered also. So I'm gonna see, but the motor doesn't have a torque sensor built into it. Some of them
Oh,
do.
yeah. Yeah, oh, yeah, I've got one of each. Big difference,
On a bike?
big difference.
On a
No,
bike or
it's
just a
just, it's a hub motor.
Okay,
You remember the hub motors we
Mhm.
had?
yeah.
I got one without the torque sensor. Totally different.
Yeah.
vibe. You're not gonna get any torque. No.
So I bought one with the throttle sensor on it, but I figured if I got torque input here, just patch it
Adjust
in
the
and
throttle. Okay.
bypass the thumb throttle and turn it into a torque sensor, and got a motor on order, got it for $90. They're usually $400 or something like that.
Ouch.
Building an electric bike.
Huh?
Building an electric bike.
Another one, yeah. I'm on like my fifth.
Oh, okay.
I buy them.
Come play your labs, what you're saying.
Sell them. Yeah, you can't keep everything. So
Oh,
sell them and then buy a better bike and better motors.
That's stuff to play with.
Yep.
Yeah.
how fast does the best one go so far you got?
Oh, just under 30. It's not about speed. I tried that. I played that game before.
What do you use for power?
I don't like those.
He's got one of those little tiny 3.7 volt
Yeah.
batteries on there.
Yeah. Times
It
what,
lasts,
50?
it lasts about 2 seconds for the motor that he's using.
How much voltage does this take?
Oh, the one I got ordered is 48 volts. Otherwise, usually run 36.
So if I took 5 of my spare Prius batteries, just curious,
Yeah,
how long do you think that hold up?
yeah, it would work good.
Yeah.
So these are DC motors?
Yes, yeah. They're brushless DC motors,
Okay.
How do you
and
charge
they're
that
built
battery?
right into the crank. So, yeah, as you pedal, it's like the motor is also driving the front sprocket. It's all built into one unit.
It's like a hub motor, right?
Like
Um,
It's like a hub motor, but it's on the,
But it's got the pedals on it.
yeah.
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 Yeah, it's
Hub
just
motor with
in a
pedals.
different place, yeah.
Yeah.
So the motor drives the front wheel and you drive the back wheel?
Now, the motor drives the front sprocket. The motor is built into where your pedals are.
Oh, okay. Okay.
You pull out your old crank assembly, and this motor assembly slides through that and kind of hangs down below it. And some of them have torque sensors built in, so the harder you're pressing on the pedals, the more power you get, and you feel like you're superhuman.
it's a power assist or
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah.
So do you actually ride these or are these just built for fun?
I'll actually ride them, yeah. So I'm working on a torque sensor one. I've had 2 hub drive bikes.
Oh, you need to get Barry's virtual reality thing and mount those hub things and you can go riding a lot less exercise. Yeah.
And I don't have to worry about traffic.
Yeah.
Virtually ride your bike.
Yeah. And want to worry about torque sensors or nothing, man. Not gonna run over anything.
Depends. Put something in the VR.
I've still got the one bike I brought in here that once.
Imagine crashing in VR on a bike.
Yeah.
They're making a new vest that you can feel impacts.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Did-
I was like, oh, that's brilliant.
Have you seen
Everybody wants
the
to get
weird
gut punched.
funky thing that they've made for the Quest 2? That thing that hangs down over your mouth so you could feel people
Oh, yeah.
kissing you and whatever.
Oh, that sounds good.
Who in the
Illustrator's gonna
world
take that
wants
all
that?
out to the hill.
It doesn't sound terribly hygienic.
Yeah, why would you want this thing?
Now Leroy's asking why. Now that's gotta be a bad case. That's gotta be bad. When Leroy,
Yeah.
we done spun out of control.
Leroy has not yet figured out anything decent to do with his Quest, except watch YouTube videos, and I can do that on the TV without this thing on my head.
Yeah, there's something to be said though of having like a theater version
Yeah,
view
I-
of a movie.
I have yet to find anything decent to actually do with my Quest.
Yeah, I don't have I've got the wired.
Yeah,
Like going to Victoria Theater, Dayton,
well,
it's the full screen theater, shows old pictures, shows old.
the only reason why I acquired a Quest was because the youngest kid needed some cash, and he offered it, and I said,
All right.
I don't want it, but you need cash, so I'll buy it. So I acquired a Quest, and then I can't find anything decent. I mean, the games all make me sick.
Yeah,
There's
not a very many good games. I've played a couple of them. Some of them are being a non-physical being. Shooting a bow and arrow for more than 15 minutes makes your arm fall off, right?
Well, I played, they got some sort of roller coaster game,
Oh,
and I mean, it's good, except you feel it, and it just, it's like I get motion sick and I'm not even on the stupid thing.
A friend of mine has Quiver, and it's like a bow game where you play defense and shoot a whole bunch of incoming goblins or something with it. Oh my gosh! Like I said, you do that action so many times, for a few minutes, it's hard.
Yeah,
The robot game, Roblox or something, whatever it comes with the. It's pretty decent shooter, but the movie and it's kind of weird because it's teleport.
I like, you brought your VR in, I liked it, it was pretty fun, but the Quest seems to have like,
A little different. I haven't tried one yet.
it's,
A heck of a lot more limited, I think, because it doesn't have a lot of storage capacity.
mine's got 128 gig drive, but that's not even really its biggest issue.
But you're wireless.
The motion, it's hard to explain. You know how the old 3D movies, some people would get really motion sick watching those things. That's what it feels like. And those things never bothered me, but they bother me when it's like right here on my face. Yeah.
I'm just curious if the Quest does it through alternating eye. Like left, right, left, right, left, right.
Maybe that's it. Maybe that's what it's doing.
So that's how the old stuff used to work.
Yeah. Maybe that's what it's doing to me. I don't know. All I know is some of the games don't bother me, and watching movies doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
But any of them that have a lot of motion in them, like the roller coaster games or the parachuting game where you parachute out of planes, that is the worst feeling ever.
I wouldn't even try that game. I don't want to do it in real life. Why would I do it in VR?
Well,
I'm going down with a perfectly good plane, whether it's on fire or not.
I tried it because it's free for one.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Most of those games on the Quest store or whatever they call that thing are really small, so you could fit a ton of games on this thing.
A lot of them are beta, well, not beta, but like, what I want to say, like
They're like under,
platform designers, just
Yeah.
to see what they can do.
yeah, and they're small. They're a few hundred megs.
The Star Wars droid, that's my favorite. Building robots, they're building droids,
I have-
fixing droids. like Star Wars, so it's fun. The droid comes out there, you gotta like pick which parts gotta be replaced and it's entertaining. But yeah, I don't know, it's a weird thing. I got a couple other games that are a little more serious. I bought them, installed a little bit of
The,
famous Steam
but
500 games.
the Quest had a virtual tour that's supposed to orient you so you
Yeah.
know how to make the controllers working. And that one doesn't bother me, but it doesn't have a whole lot of motion or 3D to it either.
Right. Come out with a couple of those too that you can load from Steam that were kind of entertaining because I put one or two of those on. There's another Star Wars one I still haven't tried yet. It's interesting. Yeah, I should you guys know what I do. Then it was just tinker around and put starship models in like a hangar. That's kind of fun, being able to walk around and craft.
Well, like I said, the best thing I found so far is to watch movies, and I just can't see me sitting there with a headset on to do that.
I don't remember. I don't think I ever watched a whole movie. I did it just because it's interesting being able to blow the screen up to the side of the wall of your house platform. And it's like, oh, dude, that's awesome. And like if you're working on your computer, but there's no friend of mine does a lot of virtual desktop design, like where he does trying to do his coding inside of VR world. And I was like, how do you do that? He said it's kind of monotonous because you only have like the couple buttons, right? And so it's really hard to emulate a whole keyboard experience inside it. It's the same problem with like there's a game out of Valkyrie, which is VR, which is based off the game Eve. You got 100 controls to fly your craft without the VR rig on, and so you can see your keyboard and hit all the different stuff or run a mouse. That doesn't exist in VR yet, so it's like you're just like it's kludgy, you know. Like you can set you up a joystick or something and do half of what you need to do, but the controls just aren't there yet for VR.
My Quest is weird. Yours had like little sensors so that you knew where you were at, right?
Yeah.
Quest, you draw an outline,
Yeah.
and then it tries to keep track of where you are. Only it's failed a few times. I've ran into the wall a couple of times.
Yeah. If you're headless, you can walk around and go further. It's supposed to sense the walls, though.
It
I thought obstacles.
well, what happened with mine was I was sitting down. I was playing a game that I could sit down, and I spun my chair around. I was still well within the confines of my space,
Yeah, but you were facing a different.
but I was facing a different direction than I thought. So as soon as I got up,
Bam.
right into the wall.
Hello, wall.
Hello,
I didn't
wall.
see you standing there.
As an observer.
That was the only real issue. I never actually breached the border.
Yeah.
So the Quest didn't say, hey, you're next to a wall.
Well, you don't have another set of cameras to tell you that you're going out of focus or something. That's the problem with mine too, is you really need a third locator camera, and I don't have one.
Yeah.
But the HTC is supposedly a whole lot better for that, but the HTC is also 4 times the price.
I acquired a PlayStation 4 from the same kid because he needed money. Got it a much better deal. But I thought maybe I would try some VR games on it.
Mhm.
And then I went to see what the VR cost. I'm like, no. No,
That's the reason why I have the other, whatever the hell it is. Oh. The cheapest one.
I like yours. Yours, of course, you got a decent gaming rig and everything.
Yeah, well, I built that rig primarily just because it's the first gen that supported the the VR. So the problem is it's the very first gen that supports the VR. VR's gone a little further. And what I would really wish I'd done and been a little smarter about was bought a later generation motherboard that matched that shit because it was before SATA 3, before USB 3, before or 3.2 or whatever, and all the bus improvements.
But they're gonna be changing. It's a moving target. no
Well,
matter
yeah,
where you
it's a
start.
moving target, but to not have SATA 3, on that generation computer, because it came out literally like 2 weeks after I built that rig.
Yeah.
It's
Just like the plane.
there's a big difference in performance there on some levels, but I mean, it's still a fine rig. I mean, I'll be using it for a long time still.
As soon as you buy a computer,
Yeah.
probably before you even bought it, if it's sitting at the storage shelf, it's already obsolete. There's already something better.
Well, it's just I run into that all the time though. The hard drive's like, oh yeah, it's like I could be going so much faster if I do a lot of the video editing and stuff like that. You got like half the drive speed, right? Well, and then with the SATA drives and SSD and stuff like that, you can't utilize them really for their full capacity speed because I'm still on a SATA 2 bus.
Yeah.
But 3 versus 10 makes a big difference.
Art took off his headphones. Let's talk about art.
Yeah.
He's sticking a napkin in his ear. Oh, man.
It's working today though. So
Perfect, yeah.
whatever happened last week,
It was last week.
it wasn't us.
Yeah. We don't know what it was.
We don't know what it
The
was.
Russians,
But it wasn't us.
Russian-Ukrainian war.
Check out this.
It's a phone.
I'm still trying to get my lawnmower to work with my robot lawnmower. It's got a signal generator on it. So
Yeah.
bought a kit, but it's kind of sketchy. So I don't think I'm getting the power output or the right frequency on it. So anyway, I just can't get it to work.
Like the wire
So,
detection of their phone.
Yeah, wire detection. So,
Go to Google.
so I saw this thing on
Google it. Yeah.
a signal generator. It was like under $15. It'll put out like 30-volt max.
There's a lot to just a signal generator.
Yeah,
Frequency, antenna, what kind of antenna it's made for, and what's impedance, and
yeah. So I'm just clamping
This
it
is-
on a wire and just running the loop around the yard, and it's just
Yeah.
got a home.
This is a PWM generator.
And one guy claims all he did was record it, the buzz on a CD, and then play it through a DVD player. Yeah, he put it on a CD and played it and just hooked it up to the audio output, and it worked. It was like, oh, yeah, that sounds a little
it's probably
sketchy.
like 150,000 hertz or something like that,
Yeah,
150 kilohertz. So that's not too far from impossible. But then you get the antenna length, and the antenna length for 150 kilohertz is gonna be big.
Yeah.
But you probably wrap a coil, antenna coil, off ferrite antenna coil, might work. Yeah, I can see that's feasible. Take it like a AM radio antenna coil.
Yeah.
That's gonna be about the right, that's 550 kilohertz. You know, if you took the output and fed it into that, you
Oh,
might
yeah.
have a decent signal source, seriously.
Yeah.
And as long as the audio section will
Right.
handle that frequency.
Yeah.
And it might.
Do you need a square wave? What way do you need it?
I think it's
Sawtooth?
I think it's a square wave.
This probably would work. An Arduino probably would work because that's what it kind of reads like. Kind of reads like an Arduino with extra buttons.
If you could see what kind of, if you could determine what kind of signal you would expect to see on the receiver side, where you could test different stuff, you could just try an antenna, dipole antenna, one wire on one wire on the other. And you need both wires connected probably. One wire on one wire on the other. And if you tell it the receiver sees anything, and it should have a signal strength. So you should be on the receiving end, they should have a signal strength somewhere. Say that guy's getting close.
This would be. I bet it's just a little, but there's just a little at mega microchip in there.
Because all you need on the receiver is a germanium diode to tell there's a signal coming in and a tuned circuit for the frequency. And you should be there to receive the signal. And you just want the signal strength.
Yeah, I just want to be able to pick up my lawnmower, put it to the front yard, and just be able to transmit that wire, that signal through the wire in the front without.
Okay, you got a schematic of the receiver. You got a schematic of the transmitter. You got anything? You got a model number?
Yeah, oh, yeah, RoboMo, like a 360 or something like that.
So-
yeah.
So you want,
It has a range that they're not all matched.
you want to set up a second zone.
Yeah. So easy, after I bought this little solder it together yourself kit, and then I ran the wire around, put 3 volts to it, put 12 up to 12 volts ran through it, and it was just kind of intermittent and had a little tuning, little tuner on it. Then it'd come by, sometimes it did bump, then all of a sudden it'd go boom, right on through the wire, just shoot past it. So it was just a little flaky.
So is the transmitter on the mower or on? It's like on the
It's at
wire.
the base.
It,
It's
It's
at
on
the
the
base.
base. You're heating up the wire.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
it's a, yeah, there's a little box that makes a signal. My old mower,
Yeah, I remember you had one. Yeah.
it had, was DC writing on AC. So it was making a sine wave, plus it was carrying, there was a DC voltage inside the sine wave. Really, really interesting. But mine also was capable of doing, I think, 3 zones, but you had to run extra wire out to it.
Yeah. My other option, I was just gonna put a double pole throw switch on the base and just run wires out to the
Yeah.
front and just go over, flip a little switch and go, okay,
Clunk.
turn the backyard off, turn the front yard on, and go. That might just be the easiest way. And it'll still be able to find the charging station when it gets low and come back to that. But what's the fun in that? If it's not frustrating, it's
What's
not
making
fun.
it, what's the fun in making it easy?
Yeah, yeah.
That reads a lot like just a simple at mega microchip in there.
Yeah.
With some program on it that's pushing PWM out.
Yeah.
You could set,
You
You
can
could set
call
your-
up and get a readout on what you're.
you could
What's
set
the output
your
Are you feeding both
Frequency.
ends of the wires?
Yeah.
Okay. So
And so
just
you
take
just
your audio
visually-
output, one on one, one on the other. See if it works.
Should be able to, should be able to take a meter.
Any 550, if it's a square wave, any 555 will do that. Any 555 and a 2N3055, which is a power transistor that everybody's brother sells.
That's what the one I built was using as 555.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And probably 2N2222 or 3055, and that's all you need. And
It's pretty simple, yeah.
yeah,
And it's just a little flaky though. It was kind of hit or miss. So I don't know what I'm missing.
okay. Use an electrolytic capacitor. You have a resistor capacitor timing circuit. And the duty cycle could be getting you too.
Yeah.
You may want to set up something where you could adjust the duty cycle on it. And that's easy.
All right, explain that one to me.
That makes your pulse go either faster,
Yeah.
lots of pulses, or slower.
Well, the duty cycle is actually how long is it up and how long is it down? That's
Oh,
a
okay.
duty cycle. 100% duty cycle would be on all the time.
Yeah.
50% duty cycle at the square wave. Okay.
Okay.
Or you can do spikes. And that might help you. If
Yeah.
we actually have,
Yeah.
it's
Yes.
any 555 handbook, the frequency is one.
Yeah.
And the duty cycle is the other. You got the frequency closed, and my voltmeter does frequency nowadays. You're silly,
Yeah, you should be
$20
able to go out on where your charging station is
Yeah.
and hook a voltmeter up and see if it's an AC carrying DC and see what it actually is doing.
Okay.
Well,
Pick up both AC and DC.
whether it's DC on it or not, it doesn't matter, because that DC is not gonna go in the air. Okay, the only thing that's gonna get out in the air is a change.
Yeah.
Okay, so the only thing, if you're close to the frequency, and I'll try to bring my voltmeter in next time, this got frequency on it, just the cheap ones don't have the free ones don't have it. That's the next step up. Voltmeter has a frequency on it, make sure you got the right frequency, but it's gonna be determined by the resistor and capacitor. You got a resistor and a capacitor there.
Yeah.
Probably have two resistors and two capacitors. Okay. And that's gonna determine frequency. You can bring those numbers and bring it in, we'll get the capacitors off of the capacitance and two resistors and see what it is. And you can tell the frequency, you can say frequency and any 555, and then say, okay, what's the capacitor, what's the resistance? I'll tell you what the frequency is.
Yeah. And it has a little tunable rheostat on it too.
Okay. Yeah. So you can see the range
Yeah.
of the capacitance, and you know what the frequency is supposed to be?
No.
Wow.
they give you a range. And they come between this range and this range. Yeah.
Okay. And then,
In case your neighbor has one. You don't want, if he comes up close to their yard, he could get confused, so they work on.
so they're pretty broad banded. Oh, I see what you're saying. So then if they're pretty broad banded, then trying the duty cycle thing might be. I gotta look up some, just duty cycle and any 555, and they'll come up with a circuit. It's gonna be a potentiometer too. One's gonna be,
Might be able to take like an O-scope. Use an O-scope, and then you can see what the duty cycle and what the frequency is right off the O-scope. And then use that thing for yours and get it as close
Yeah.
as possible as you can. Should work. Should work.
I got a whole bunch of 555s now after I cooked one.
yeah, well, there you go.
Yeah, it's
It
working
should be
one
like-
minute and I go, oh shit, I hooked the battery up backwards.
Yeah.
Now it don't work at all, so okay.
I mean, LCD,
Pop
couple,
it out.
2 or
pop
3
it
for
in,
a buck.
Yeah, they were cheap, yeah.
It should be easy enough. to figure
Yeah.
out.
And do they use a transistor with it, or is it just a 555?
Oh.
Because usually a transistor will make your signal much larger.
Yeah.
A 2-inch 20, actually, they'll do like 100 milliamps. Switching, so they're pretty powerful, and then put a 2N3055 on it, and you can do an amp or two with those, okay? 10 times, so I should get a good signal.
I forget what the reason why mine had DC writing on the AC. I think the AC was being used to keep it inside the thing, and the DC was being used to direct it back to the charging bank.
Oh.
Because it, mine had big coils on it that were magnets, basically, and it would get close to the line, and it would bounce off and go another direction. But once it needed to be charged,
It would just follow.
it would follow it, and it would follow it the same way every single time.
Yeah, that's what mine does. It
I think that's.
follows it counterclockwise. 'Cause it's
And bring it
kinda
in, we'll
right,
take a
but
look at it, and we
I think that's why it
And,
was had
figure out what the
DC
frequency is.
writing on the AC.
You have a circuit diagram of it?
That's somebody hold the wire and see how many times.
Not of the original, no.
I mean, with this unit, it's supposed to work.
It,
Of course, logic sense.
I found one for sale, an original one in Israel. And it says, oh, here's the price plus any tariffs, duties, and it's like, whoa. No, I'm not playing that. I had to bribe my neighbor $100 a day to take it to the post office. Deal. Give us your credit card. We'll get you your card.
Shipping's become so cheap.
Ah,
it is work.
Yeah. Well, also like, wasn't my exhaust system for my truck. It costs more to have it shipped from, what's that auto parts place that advertise all the time? Rock Auto Parts. Than it was to buy all of it off eBay or off Amazon. So it was like $10 more a part on Amazon, but it was free shipping,
yeah.
right? But it was like, like $900 shipping to order it off Rock Auto Parts. I was like, what the hell?
Now, you've ordered off Alibaba before, right?
Oh, yeah.
They don't take PayPal, though, do they? Whenever I try, it says, put in your credit card number. And it's like, I don't know about that,
I've never had a problem.
I've been using AliExpress, and I eventually went directly using my credit card. Hadn't had any.
Yeah,
issues,
I'll-
yeah.
AliExpress, I think it depends on the seller. So if they will take PayPal or if they.
Okay.
What
Everything I've tried to buy through Alibaba always says, put in your credit card.
Yeah.
Also,
Ooh, yeah.
AliExpress, I don't know what it's Alibaba now. AliExpress got to where they do all the financial interaction with external. So like, until you get it, they don't release the money to the vendor. So the
Right.
vendor will email you the day it arrives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Saying, hey, you have your stuff. What do you
Alibaba,
think?
Yeah.
Alibaba and AliExpress, at least when I was doing it a lot, they were owned by the same company.
Yeah, it's the same alphabet. I didn't know if the rules changed for.
I don't think so, but Alibaba is usually, if you want to buy bulk stuff, like hundreds of something.
Yeah.
And AliExpress is if you want to buy one or two.
Oh, okay.
So
They
you're,
sell some bulk, but yeah. No.
so you're going to pay a little bit more at AliExpress, but if you only want one thing, you're probably better off.
Yeah, okay.
And they got a search engine, you can specify the quantity you want, so it's,
I've been able to get one on Alibaba, but yeah, then it's.
I've never had a problem
it
with
goes.
AliExpress, and he's right, they hold the money until you're happy. You actually have to say, I'm happy, and they will give the seller the money and say, he's happy.
Otherwise, I was thinking of just buying a Visa gift card for the,
That'll work
for the
too.
bulk,
That-
you know, and just use that. So, yeah, okay.
That would, I did that for a little while, but I've never had a problem with AliExpress, and I'm pretty sure they're the same company.
Okay.
Only problem I ever had with any other thing I've ever ordered there is one of the places that my Bluetooth things in one of those little plastic envelopes, and they got caught in the conveyor belt.
Yeah.
Chewed it all up. Other guys
I-
never sent me another
Well,
package, but I
that's-
never approved the purchase either.
That's,
So it was like for $4, so I was like, whatever.
that's not really AliExpress's fault.
Yeah.
just say
Well,
no, just say no, you didn't get it, or.
Yeah.
and
Well, that's what
they'll
I'm
give
saying.
you the money.
I've had a couple of them either be damaged or not show up, and you just file a claim, and a couple days later, you get your money back. I mean,
Yeah, I'll get you, I got a camera, I ordered the E1 Pro, and I got the E1, I said, wrong time, said, okay, what do you want? I said, I'll give you $5 for it, because I really didn't want it. They said, okay, they sent me a shipping label, put it in the box, off it goes, sent it out the next day, not a problem.
Yeah,
30 days later,
I'll-
we're drive.
Yeah.
AliExpress, Alibaba, they're pretty good.
They have to be, or they go out.
Yeah. He's making enough money.
They're pretty good. And AliExpress's customer service, I've never, ever really had a problem with. You know, if I've had to escalate anything beyond what the seller's willing to do, they just gone. Yeah, you're right.
Only
Here's some
thing
money."
with AliExpress, their wording is you have to pay attention. You have to pay attention because you'll end up with the wrong thing.
Yeah.
And then they don't have detail. You've seen some of the Chinese,
It depends on the
Chance
seller
English.
though. It depends on the seller, because like I
Yeah.
buy 90% of the M5 stack stuff I bought off of AliExpress, and they're great. I mean, M5 stack is a wonderful company, very, very. Just
Yeah.
buying it off of AliExpress made it even better.
Yeah, okay.
And Lily Go-Go is a really good company. They're more broken English than M5 Stack, but you got a problem. They're a good company because they'll deal with it directly, where you don't have to escalate it to getting AliExpress involved or anything.
Hey Art, I got a second wire-free camera now. I've got the Argus Pro. I've got the Argus 3, which is their latest model, later model. And I got an Argus Pro, which is an earlier model. It's a different package, but both of them have solar cells and they just sit there at 100% charge all the time. They're not going to, the charge is not going to go down. And even rainy days, bright days, it doesn't matter. They're going to sit there at 100% all the time. So you don't have to have direct sun ever. I don't think those guys. I've got semi-direct sun on the front porch, but it just, anytime I look at them, overcast day, I saw one at like 96% because I left the solar cell unplugged for a couple of days. Okay. It looks like the target is for them to last 30 days with not being connected at all.
So now the camera's probably not drawing any current at all unless it detects motion, right?
Right. Now there is a slight delay firing up the processor
Dinner.
when they turn.
Oh.
Dinner time.
So if you're gonna be trying to catch cars go down the street, it ain't gonna work.
Oh, okay.
It was nice seeing you again.
Glad you dropped by.
In real life.
Yeah. Instead of virtual, yeah.
Yeah, in real life. See you later. We got those bugs.
There's always
So
more
the-
bugs.
Yeah, and I've got another E1 Pro for the barn, and it just fine. I'm pleased with the E1. I can get those for $30 every day. E1 Pro is a 4 megabit. Yep, and the Argus Pro, that's one of the early ones, is a 2 meg. And there's a big difference between 2 meg and 4 meg.
Oh, yeah.
So it's okay if you just want to see if somebody's in the room or something. But yeah, looking at the front yard, oh, you need a 4 meg. But looking at a room or something, the Pro is fine. I paid $50 for it. The Pro, the Argus Pro, that's the original wire free. But all of them seem to be fine. Got no complaints, set them up.
How
Yeah.
far do you have it from your Wi-Fi?
I've got what do they call them, waypoint,
Access point.
access point in behind the house for outside in the backyard. It's about 100 feet, 100 in a barn, in a metal barn. The front's actually the front's plywood, a barn, you know, outdoor stuff, and then sitting next to a metal one. So yeah, I've got one that's about 150, and that's that's an E1. No, that's actually it's a 4 megapixel bullet camera, but they have the special adaptive antennas.
Directional sending.
Yeah, they're much more stable.
Are those 2.4 or 5 gig?
Both the Argus models are 2.4 and 128
Okay.
max, 128 gig maximum storage. And I've learned.
This is just an SD chip or what?
Yeah. Yeah.
But they won't accommodate more than 128.
Nope, no, 128 gig is the max. 128 gig is a hell of a lot. You're not going to use that.
Well,
And
that's true.
That recirculator, I got 32 gig, and I end up with like 30 days capturing every car that goes down the street, and I got like 500 cars, a day.
Well, the thing is that once data becomes a certain number of days old, it's not useful anyway. If you're talking about security cameras,
Yeah.
If you're, oh, Vicente, oh,
And I found out one trick is the original one, it wouldn't detect the camera, and I thought that was really odd. Well, you have to plug in the SD card or it won't detect it. It won't work. And it was voice guided. It says, please load me. And it wouldn't even say, please load me. I said, that's odd. I ended up putting an SD card in it. Oh, it's please load me. Okay.
that's kind of a catch-22.
Yeah, but and it took me a couple of minutes to say, okay, well, I'll just plug in the SD and see if that does it. And boom, it's ready to go.
So maybe it needed it for
That was
RAM
it.
operations or like a swap partition or something for boot.
And I know some of them, it didn't like it. One of the E1s was like that way. It didn't like it. If you didn't have the SD card in it, you could tell it didn't like it. It wouldn't connect sometimes. And so I guessed it pretty quick. Put the SD in it, boom, it was great. So for the original Argus model, you have to have the SD card. You have to. But my E1 Pros are just, they're 4 megapixels and they're just great. And they run 5 megapixel or 5 megahertz or 2.4 megahertz either.
Probably that's gigahertz.
Gigahertz.
Yeah, excuse me, gigahertz.
Vicente's here.
Hey, how you doing?
Oh, great. Was a busy day, but it's okay. How is everything? Are you in California?
I'm in California. Yeah,
Okay.
He's in outer space, can't you tell?
I see, I see.
Base left.
yeah, yeah.
ISS. Looks like.
Yeah, I'm back in California. I have been for. We flew out on the 12th, I think it was.
Okay.
Was the day. It was a Thursday. It was the day after.
Okay.
2 meetings ago, 3 meetings ago,
Yeah.
2. No. Yeah, it was the day after 3 meetings ago. Yeah, we had a lot of loose ends out here. We had to come back and attend to, and had to catch up on a whole bunch of medical things and dental appointments, and my wife had to get her hair done, and you can tell I've had mine done too, right?
Yeah, it looks good, yeah. I like that curling iron you got thing. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, it gets a little hot on the old scalp there, but yeah, so we had a whole bunch of loose ends that we had to come back out here to
No
take
smoke,
care of.
no smoke.
Not so far. There's a lot of fires in Arizona, but not knock wood, so far not California. But it only takes one cigarette drop someplace or another, and they're off to the races again.
I'll be in California in the next 17 June 17.
So you're coming out with your daughter to Stanford,
Yeah,
or what?
yes. I'll be there by 3 days, leaving her there and then back to Ohio.
So you're just dropping her off then?
Yes. We will drop her and be around a couple of days in case of. And that's
Oh,
it.
I thought you were going to tour California while you were here.
Well, we are planning to go to Napa Valley for a while.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But
Yeah, get some vitamins up there.
yeah, vitamins.
It's actually a great time of year to go to Napa Valley, because a lot of stuff is in bloom, and the grapevines are just starting to throw out their tendrils and so forth and so on. I mean, at this point, we're 3.5 months away from the harvest. So what you've got is the craggy old plants and then the new tendrils coming out that the grapes will grow on for this year. And the only problem is it is so dry that it may not be so good this year. I mean, we just don't get any rain anymore in this part of the country.
You need to bring your own water.
You sure do. I mean, my front yard looks about the same color as that conference table there.
Okay.
Dry.
And so forth and so on, but there's the green that's there is imaginary, I guess you could say.
We were having a lot of water here in Ohio.
Yeah, I think you've had about 3 or 4 inches since we left on the 12th.
A lot of water in very short time. Gallons of water.
Yeah, my rain gauge, I think, says we've got 3+ inches since we flew out here on the 12th.
That wasn't a couple of hours, you know, was very intensive.
Yeah.
Very,
Well, fortunately, I'm on high enough ground that flooding is not an issue. Let me put it this way. If flooding becomes an issue where my house is there in Milford, there's going to be a lot of people building arcs. Okay. Yeah, our problem would be is if they got real bad flooding, we would be stuck here in the development because in order to get out of the development, you basically have to go downhill about 300, 400 feet, something like that. And there are, you know, the east branch of the Millstone and the Millstone, Miami, the east branch of the Little Miami and the Little Miami are down the hill from us. So we could have water down there that would keep us confined to quarters, but we don't have any rain here at all. I mean, it is really, really dry.
Well, okay.
And it has been for several years, so this is not new.
Is there any plans to bring water to California from somewhere?
I don't know how you'd bring enough to make any difference.
From the sea and maybe in desalinizer.
Well, here's the problem. The problem is a numbers problem. If you look at the water supply that is used in California, most of it comes in the summertime from snow melt out of the Sierras, which is east of us. And about 90 some plus percent of that gets used by the farmers in the Central Valley.
Okay.
So, you know, for folks here to use for drinking and sewage and so forth and so on, we have considerably less than 10% of the available water. To put in a desalination plant that was big enough to produce anything like that kind of water, you know, you're talking about a huge desalination plant. And by the way, desalination plants use a lot of energy. So you'd have to put a nuclear reactor in next to it to supply the juice to it. So it's just not a practical solution. And of course, this salt water off the coast isn't particularly useful as it stands now. So at any rate,
you have to drink beer. So instead.
Yeah, I unfortunately I can't drink beer anymore, but I have some relatives and a son-in-law who brews beer actually, and in copious quantities. And so there are people that are, but keep in mind that uses water also.
Yeah, of course.
You know, you can't brew beer out of salt water. You got to have fresh water to brew it. So the lack of water is a big problem. It's a huge problem. Yeah, we were there in Milford, and it was great. I would enjoy every time we had a thunderstorm and rain coming down, and I thought that was really great. It reminds me of a kid when my life as a kid when I was growing up in Columbus, Ohio. You know, the summer thunderstorms were great, but not in California.
Leroy has a new robot already, or what's going on with your robot?
You missed it.
Yeah, but
Yeah, he did a whole demo here.
but works or not? Yes.
Not really.
Okay. Wow. This is 3.3 volts for
Yeah.
two sensors too. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's training up all right. It looks like.
They are very close. They don't interfere one with each other. I mean the ultrasonic sensors. They looks very close.
Yeah.
Well, Leroy, you got to explain to him that they're vertically oriented, not horizontally
But
oriented.
you can change the code and use them alternatively. Fire one, measure, and then fire the another one and make the measure. Don't do both simultaneously.
That's how the code works right now. Is
Okay.
it doesn't do them simultaneously.
Okay.
It does one or the other.
Okay.
But I may need to put a little delay in there or something. Because there may still be some.
So what frequencies are those
40 kilohertz
Yeah.
40 kilohertz. Okay.
usually.
Yeah, somewhere around in there. So this is here. Let's see if I can do this.
So you could put like 20 millisecond bursts on or whatever.
Yes. Two milliseconds.
It's a standard reading kind of deal. You got this is the
Just
first
2
one.
microseconds.
Yes, but this turns them on and initializes them, and then this reads the pulse in. So there's one first, and then there's the second, which is basically the same thing, only turning on the other sensor.
Okay.
But there may be to be a little bit of a delay here. Maybe.
Well, that's a 10 millisecond delay.
Yeah.
No, but this is to produce the pulse that fire the burst, the audio burst. You don't.
If you look at the ping library,
Uh-huh.
this is exactly what it is doing. It turns on the sensor.
Yeah. But it's a firing, just fire, and there is like a burst that the chip itself produce a burst of several milliseconds length,
Yep.
This is the energy that goes and come back to the sensor.
Yep.
And it sends the time between the firing and the bouncing.
Yep.
The coming back.
Yeah, this is exactly what's inside the ping library.
Okay.
Only I think the ping library will let you get the output in inches as well as centimeters. This ends up coming out in centimeters from right here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But that centimeters shouldn't matter. What should matter is getting one clean reading and then a second clean reading. So
Making certain that the pings, that the pulses don't overlap, basically.
Yeah. So there may need to be a little bit of a delay right there or something.
Yeah.
But it's pretty standard stuff for that one. Oops, I don't know what I'm doing. And my only other, can you see the drive? Or is it just showing me the sensor to you guys?
What are the distance you are measuring? Like 10 inches or so?
Mhm.
Usually your robot is looking how far?
Whatever that is, 250 centimeters.
Okay.
The only other thing that really has changed from the original code is in this drive section where I have to drive the motors a little different.
Yeah.
But, and this may actually be causing part of the problem too. Because, well, just because I had to kind of wing it about what it was doing in the first place. But this is where it's getting that oscillation at, right there,
Mhm.
that you saw. So right there, it's going back and forth, back and forth. So this is supposed to, the first condition, or the zero condition, is supposed to tell it to make a wide left turn. But on my little tiny tests that I was doing on the desk, it seemed like it wanted to make a wide left turn into the box, which didn't work. So I was making it make a wide left turn by backing up instead of moving forward.
Yeah, better.
And then the second condition would make a left turn, a little shallow left turn. So it would do this. So that's where the oscillations are coming from, because it's trying to go back and go forward and go back and go forward and go back and go forward. So there's something definitely not right in my drive code that I've got to kind of work on.
Well, after about 10 or so cycles, it likes to ram the target.
Yeah, well, yeah, after a while, it's going to go. So,
Nice.
I think I've got a couple of things going on that aren't quite right, because it's not quite the platform that it was designed for in the first place. And then here this is where it actually sets up the training cycle. These numbers right here, I don't know if you guys can see that. These numbers are all the centimeters. So there's a left side and a right side, and it says, okay, if this condition number 1 is met, then we want to turn left. If condition number 2 is met, we want to turn more shallow of a left, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, clear down to like condition 18 is where it would go forward. Condition 18 would send it into a forward cycle. And I'm not sure that those numbers are actually working, because his robot was bigger and he had a bigger area to play in. So mine being smaller, I might have to adjust those numbers.
Yeah, maybe you need to make your own numbers.
Yeah. But I think these conditions right here are correct. I just need to find the right numbers.
Yeah.
For here.
Mhm.
Scale them all down.
Divided by
50%. See what happens.
2 or whatever, see what happens. Yeah. It's a process, and considering that yesterday I didn't have anything at all.
You've been busy.
And I had the grandkid, and she actually let me work on the project. So
There you go.
Excuses.
You outsource your work to her, though.
oops, what did I just do? Oh, okay.
You guys could put together a heck of a robot. You become a tag team.
She's helped me build some robots before. And yesterday she comes in and she goes, "Where's Pepsi at?" And I said, "Sitting right there on my desk." No, Pepsi the robot, Papel. I want to go play with Pepsi the robot. Because she named one of the robots Pepsi. And then she started looking around at all my robots on the shelf and she goes, I don't see Diet Pepsi. Where's Diet Pepsi at? I don't remember which one was Diet Pepsi.
Hopefully you did disassemble it and got it cannibalized with 3 other robots.
I think I did. I think I took it apart, but I don't remember which one was Diet Pepsi.
Sounds like my niece. Names everything and knows what they were.
Yeah. But I made some progress. I think I need to refine those numbers. I think I need to work a little bit more on the drive code. I think the ultrasonics are actually working the way they're supposed to work. I don't think I need a delay there, but I might need a delay there because they are a little bit closer. The whole thing is much smaller than what the platform that it's based on was. So everything may just need to be scaled down a bit. I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure. I've got some ideas, but I'm not 100% sure. It's just kind of interesting that it was sort of working, sort of. It seemed to me like, at least in the initial tests and the one that we did here, it wanted to actually go towards the object instead of away from the object. And that's probably just because I've got the steering a little wacky on it or something. You know, trying to figure some of this out. The original code wasn't documented real well. I did email or left a message on the original guy's video, and he was.
Do you have a link to the project?
He was actually helpful. So let me get you a couple links here.
So you're gonna drop them in the chat?
Yep. Sooner or later, I'll actually put the code somewhere that you guys can look at. So the first link is just in general, artificial network on an Arduino. And then the second link is the video of the original project.
Driving the obstacles.
Do I?
Driving around the obstacles.
Yeah, his actually works. So. His is an ESP32, mine's an ESP32. His uses 27 neopixels, mine uses 25 neopixels. I don't know what difference that actually makes. Because none of them are on all at the same time anyway, so it doesn't matter. And his uses a treaded robot, which is a much bigger platform. Mine uses that little robot I could hold in one hand. His uses a big LiPo battery. Mine uses a tiny LiPo battery. But his motor drivers in his original code. He's using all 6 pins. So he's got, one is on, one is high, one is low, and one is the PWM pin, where, of course, the Starry-Bit robot chassis, it only uses 2 pins to drive a motor, and one of them, if it's high, it goes in a counterclockwise direction, and if it's low, it goes clockwise direction, and the other one is a PWM pin. So it still has speed and direction control, it's just different. So it's using a different motor driver. And that's really where the biggest change that I made was in the motor, how it's driving those motors. I know that.
Nice. Let's see next week how it's going.
Yeah, hopefully the grandbaby will let me work on it some more. Her last day of school is tomorrow, so we'll have to see how that goes. I may be stuck in Minecraft hell.
I have a friend here saying hi.
Oh, yeah.
Hi, friend.
Say
Did
hi.
did you replenish the peanut supply?
Yeah, I have a new, well, almost empty.
It's new, but he comes to visit every
Yeah.
day, so he gets peanuts.
That's funny.
Thanks.
He's easy to please.
Yeah. No, not really. He's he's always asking for something, you know. I want to play, I want to go out, I want to come in.
Sounds like a grandkid.
Oh my gosh.
I want to play.
Yeah.
Apple, come and play with me. What are we gonna play? Minecraft. Why would I even ask that question?
Silly Apple.
Silly Apple. Why ask that question? Every now and then it's Mario. But most of the time it's not. I'm actually, I don't get Minecraft, but she does, and I get to run around, and mostly I get to die. And she resurrects me and gives me all my stuff back.
Those program all the little red blocks and everything.
Yeah. I don't really get Minecraft.
I am working in a cassette interface to save programs.
Cool.
Cassette, yeah,
cassette
the old fashioned. Yeah.
That's just what we need is a cassette.
300 bits per second. Whoa.
So like Commodore 64 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's before that.
Before that.
Yeah. 70.
What size,
1976.
what size cassettes are you planning on using?
No, the cassette, the standard cassette, but I will be using one protocol that is called the Kansas City Standard. Was the first time that the manufacturers meet to set a standard for communication cassettes, to load programs in cassettes, and they fix a standard of 300 bits per second. But after several months, everyone changed the standard because they were very slow. So the standard was very short time valid, you know. But several companies use it for their computers.
I'm getting the 2-minute warning.
Okay.
All right. See everybody next week.
Okay.
Okay, take care.
All right.
Okay. Look in Wikipedia for Kansas City Standard.
Okay.
Kansas City Standard.
Kansas City.
Cassette interface.
All right. See you later.
Bye.
Take care.